and you have integrity, the governance part is not an issue.
Okay.
Right? And that is very important.
Correct.
But when you're a chartered secretary, it's beyond the role of doing administrative work. It's about strategic decisions.
Okay.
You should be able to advise the board and tell him this is the right way of doing things, because at the end of the day, there'll be repercussions if you do not address certain matters at the board, which could be related to integrity.
Yeah.
We are the only one globally recognized.
Okay.
Okay, and we have a charter.
Okay.
All right. Charter means we received the royal charter from the Queen of England back in, I think, 1901.
Yeah.
All right. Back in 1901, and I think that is the weight which it carries, and the qualification is actually recognized. Our members are working in over 80 countries.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Welcome again to ASAS 8 podcast. But today we will take you a little bit out from what we normally talk. We used to talk about Islamic finance. We used to talk about banking. We talk about capital market. Today we take you out with Mr. Justin Anthony, the Chief Executive of MISA. We will talk about a new career path which is also important for Islamic finance, for corporate, especially not limited to corporate governance, but governance at large. Yeah, we will talk about a career that previously known as a chartered secretary. A little bit about yourself, background, hometown, where you're from, and since when you are with MISA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamata, for having me on your show for this first time. All right. It's good to have to be talking about this topic.
Yeah.
My background is I'm an accountant by profession. I started off my accounting career.
Okay.
I went into the audit profession.
Okay.
I was there for about a few years and had my own startup as well.
Okay.
All right. Did my own consulting business. And then I went into various business opportunities. I went into the hotel. I went into construction.
Wow. Colorful.
Colorful, yeah. And then the longest journey which I had was actually with the what is this? PCOM, right? So with PCOM, which is the ICT Association of Malaysia.
Okay.
That was a very long journey then, but it's got nothing to do with finance.
Okay.
Right? It had nothing to do with finance at all. It was more about building strategy relationship with partners, with the industry to grow the ICT industry.
Okay.
When opportunities knocked on my door, I got a call and said, Justin, there's one opening here. Would you like to check it out?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I want to give it a try.
Yeah.
So I ended up in MISA. It's going to be 2 years now.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's how I've been leading my team together with the 30 secretariat that I have now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your background is accounting.
Yeah.
Not merely business admin.
No.
You are a figure person.
Right.
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 Debit, credit, finance, balance sheet. Budget, forecast. But now you are into corporate governance and chartered secretary. How does it drive you, or how does it make you to stay and focus on this? I know you have a short stay, or I don't know how long you were with PCOM, but that was the first bite of addressing or doing something related to association.
Right.
How does it, from the action man in outside there, and then
I think both of it had its unique action points.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And both industries, I would say, in fact, governance cuts across every industry. Okay. Whether it's you're talking about a traditional business, or you're talking about an ICT industry.
Okay.
governance matters. All right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just that this time we are much more focused. When I
Okay.
moved over here, the focus is look. I think governance plays a very important role in every aspect of our day-to-day business. All
Okay.
right. So you can be operating a traditional business. You can be in the PLC. You can be
Okay.
an SME.
Okay.
And also within the association itself,
Yeah.
governance is very important, right?
Okay.
So to me, I'm just practicing more now onto the
Okay.
governance side
Okay.
and putting things in place for the industry now. They have their own have governance in structure.
Okay.
They have their own governance structure, which is good, right?
Uh-huh.
Because the qualified accountants have actually go through stringent and detailed training,
Okay.
during the course of their work.
Okay.
And it's very important that they play a very important role, especially when it comes to integrity.
Okay.
When you have integrity, the governance part is not an issue,
Okay.
right?
All
And
right.
that is very important. So one of the practice that every accountant has,
Uh-huh.
I think integrity is very important.
Yeah. What you like about being in MISA, the circle of members that you are dealing with?
Mhm.
What makes you like this circle of people?
As different group of people that I'm dealing with,
Yes.
these are
Yes.
basically company secretaries.
Ah.
All right,
Okay.
we're dealing with company secretaries,
Mhm.
and what is happening now is we are in the process of educating the company secretaries. You are no longer just company secretaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are chartered secretaries.
Okay,
Okay. There is a variation to it.
Uh,
Company secretaries definition will be more of very administrative work,
All right.
minutes taking,
correct.
those kind of administrative work.
Correct.
But when you're a chartered secretary, it's beyond the role of doing administrative work. It's about strategic decisions.
Okay.
All right. So that is where we're actually moving into. All right. And that's what I like doing. And I think it's quite interesting.
Uh,
It's a different role. I know you're wondering how come from
Exactly.
finance you went into IT and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're here. And I'm using my IT background as an experience
Okay.
to actually educate the team, within
Uh-huh.
the team, and also the members
Yeah.
as to going through a digital transformation stage.
Having about 20 years experience
Mhm.
in finance, in advisory, dealing with regulators. So I come across this proper governance people
Mm.
who really not only taking the minutes,
Right,
not only confirming the 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 the, the institution abiding the guidelines,
right.
either by the regulators or by the government, and they are also ensure that those governance are also transformed into the day-to-day operation,
Mm.
right? So this is something that not many people understand about moving from minute takers to a proper chartered secretary. Why accountant and now they say, oh, maybe the second stigma is that chartered secretary is only for accountant and lawyers.
Okay.
Would it be wider than that?
Yeah, of course, it's going to be wider. I mean, you're talking about even individuals who have even legal background, right?
Uh-huh.
They can become chartered secretaries.
Okay.
Basically, today we are moving from using the word secretary to governance professional.
Yeah.
So if you're a company secretary now
Mm.
and you have always been in the process of preparing minutes,
Mm.
documentation, all that,
Mm.
that portion of it is not your core business. It should be moving into governance where you're talking
Okay.
about strategy.
Yeah.
Now, when you sit in a board meeting
Yeah.
and you just take down minutes,
Okay.
okay, it just the board may think that you are just a minute taker.
Yeah.
But if you transform that and you can actually advise the board and tell them,
Yeah.
look, this is not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You should be able to advise the board and tell him this is the right way of doing things. Because at the end of the day, there'll be repercussions if you do not address certain matters at the board,
Yeah.
which could be related to integrity.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
it could relate to financial matters which is not being reported well,
Okay.
properly
Right. Yeah.
reported.
Yeah.
It could be the auditor,
Yeah.
for the matter, right? It could be the auditor. They would have mistakenly recorded something and is not being addressed. So
Yeah.
the company secretary has got a role to play.
Yeah. I came across a situation whereby the chartered secretary are also the one who reminded the board that, hey, your limit of authority is like this.
Yes.
You know, you
Yes.
cannot go beyond that.
Yep.
And for C-suite
Mm.
to remind the board, sometimes it will be between the management and the board. But
Mm.
now you have the chartered governor, the chartered secretary guys who say, hang on,
Mm.
based on your limit of authority, this is what you can do. Hang on, based on the previous decision of the board, this is what you can do, and you cannot move forward beyond that.
Right.
So I think a chartered secretary or a chartered governance person in an institution sitting at a very high level as compared to the normal management, I would say that.
Mhm.
How does it position?
A lot of education is being done now. Okay, MIXA is actually educating our members,
Yeah,
and also the industry at large in many ways. All right,
Yeah.
the platforms that we have,
yeah,
the landscape is changing.
okay.
Okay, as you can see that the way things are done today, if you look at how SSM used to operate
Yeah.
in those days, and today you look at how they are operating now, it has changed for the last 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
Okay, the landscape is changing. Governance is playing a very important role now from every aspect. Okay, even you have the involvement of, even the government agencies,
Yeah.
and the companies, the business owners, the board have to give some importance to the chartered governance professionals or the company secretaries, because they are your bookkeepers.
Yeah.
They are your they are your gatekeepers, right?
Yeah.
Protecting your organization from any harm,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there must be attention to the
Important
the
factor.
warnings,
Oh.
yes, the important factors
Yeah.
that they need to be guided. All right.
Okay.
So any CEO, for the matter, right, in any organization, apart from he being the boss of the overall organization, he needs to also hear out to his respective what is this? What do you call them? Managers, all right, head of
Yes.
departments.
Yes.
Because you probably do not see something which they see.
Yeah. Day to day.
Yeah.
The
So
reality.
the role of the company secretary or governance professional
Yeah.
is to advise that to the
Okay.
board, to the CEO as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question before we move to our next session, session number 2. I think there are two different type of chartered secretary or corporate governance person, internal and external, right?
Right.
Can you little bit give some little bit introduction on that, so that later on maybe when we have our second podcast, we can be more focused on the in-house chartered secretary and the external
Right.
secretary.
Okay, so let me start with the in-house.
Yeah.
So in-house are basically, if you take an example, if you're a public listed company,
Yeah.
you will probably require somebody to be your company secretary in-house.
Okay.
All right, because you want to keep your house in order.
Okay.
All right. So you will hire a in-house secretary who looks into every aspect as what an external secretary would do.
Okay.
But having an in-house secretary is basically they know everything which is happening in the organization.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So they will be able to actually guide you
Ah.
exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Day-to-day operations, they see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the external company secretary, the external one that we outsource, they sit in on hundreds of companies.
Yes.
Okay.
You have a long list.
Yeah,
When
they
you
have a
go in-
long list.
When you go into their entrance, they have a long list of company A, B,
Yes,
alphabetical, right?
And one company secretary could be company secretary for about 50 to 100 companies.
Wow, 100.
But you don't know what's happening in the respective organizations there.
Okay.
So they are taking a risk and providing as a service.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
So this separates the roles of the in-house.
Yeah.
In-house has got more responsibility
Correct.
because he or she will have to make sure that every aspect of the business is taken care of, and they know everything which is happening in the organization.
Okay.
Whereas the external, they provide it as a service.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
As and when it is required, they provide the service. Again, there is also a SLA which is tied to that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Certain things that they have to do.
Correct.
Remind the board. Same thing what the in-house will do. Remind the board that when should be the AGM.
Yeah.
When the election should be taking place.
Yeah.
When there's a need to call for the EGM.
Yeah.
The responsibility is about the same.
Yeah.
But one which demarks them separately is in-house, knows everything is happening in your organization.
Yeah.
The external has got less visibility to it.
So their basis of something that always in their pocket is basically the constitution, the M&A
Yes.
of that particular institution, right?
Right.
That is always something within their pocket or
Correct.
within their thumb, so that
Yeah.
they can advise you.
Mm.
Okay, we are done with our first session. A little bit about your career, why are you here, and look at how you very passionate about this career. On our second session after this, we'll talk about how to become chartered secretary
Okay.
through MISA. There are path that MISA is doing, and there are also a path that MISA is combining with universities.
Yes.
And maybe we will touch a little bit about the relation between the local and the international qualification and career path and recognition. All right?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Take a short break and then we go to the second session.
All right.
Inshallah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to our session 2 on ASAS podcast number 8, talking to Mr. Justin from MISA about another important component in the governance. We will not focus so much on the Sharia governance, but of course, it is interrelated to the chartered, the Sharia governance and the chartered governance as well. So in the first session, we talk about his background, his passion about increasing the chartered governance quality in the institution. So now he also mentioned about there are two types of chartered governance or chartered secretary. One is internal and another one is external. So the next question, maybe of course the youngsters who want a jump start. How to become either internal or the external chartered secretary or chartered governance, Justin?
Okay, very good question. Right, so just let me start a little bit on the background of how the CGQP, Chartered Qualifying Governance Program, came about.
Okay.
Prior to that, it was called ICSA.
Okay.
All right. So back then, ICSA, I believe we had about 12 subjects back then. All right. And the requirement, the entry requirement then was basically if you have already completed your Form 5, you've done your A levels, and then you can jump into that and complete your 12 papers.
Okay.
Similarly to all our accountants, which we had, 14 to 16 papers that we had to do back those days, right?
Scary days.
Yeah, scary days. But today, the landscape has changed. Today, the entry requirement for anyone to enter into the Chartered Governance Qualifying Program, you have to be a degree holder.
Okay.
All right, you must be a degree holder of any field.
Okay.
All right, that is your entry requirement, which you only have to sit for 7 papers.
7 papers.
So it's no longer the over 12 papers that we had before.
Okay.
Once you've done that, that would be your entry level. Now, once you've completed the entry level, you have to finish the 7 papers, and then you get your qualification.
Okay.
Right? That is route number 1.
Yeah, a normal route.
That's a normal route.
Yeah.
I will come back to your question, right?
Yeah.
So normal route. Then second route will be is the fast track program.
Okay.
The fast track program is actually meant for lawyers and accountants,
Okay.
Who have got 5 years of work experience.
Okay.
All right. It doesn't matter if you have not completed the 5 years in the finance or on the legal background.
Okay.
As long as you have 5 years work experience,
Okay.
you will have exemption for 5 papers.
Oh.
So you only sit for 2 papers.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So that is the second entry.
Okay.
The third route is actually the Masters Collaboration Program,
Okay.
which we have tied up with 5 universities.
Okay.
All right. And the 5 universities are in the likes of UITM,
Yeah.
Putra Business School,
Yeah.
USIM,
Yeah.
THA UMT,
Yeah.
and I keep forgetting
UPTM.
UPTM.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So these are the universities that we tied up with.
Okay.
So what has happened is when they complete their master's program, they get dual qualification. Okay?
Oh.
They complete the masters, the university's masters,
Mm.
and also degree on a master's with MIXA.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So they also get the post nominals as a governance professional.
Okay.
So
Double
this
masters.
double
Double
masters.
Okay.
Right. So they get three. These are the three routes.
Okay. Okay. So of course, when you start to link the professional qualification with university qualification,
Yeah.
it is recognized by MQA.
Yes, that's right. We
Yeah.
are recognized by MQA.
All right.
Right.
What about the application?
Mhm.
Does it stop only in Malaysia, or does it also recognize internationally or globally or
Okay.
Commonwealth?
So in Malaysia, there are a few other associations who provide the company secretary training programs.
Okay.
We are the only one globally recognized.
Okay.
Okay, and we have a charter.
Okay.
All right, charter means we received a royal charter from the Queen of England
Okay.
back in, I think, 1901.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
back in 1901, and I think that is the weight which it carries, and the qualification is actually recognized. Our members are working in over 80 countries.
80.
80, all right, with
Okay.
our MIXAS qualification.
Okay.
All right, and we are 9 divisions. All right, we have 9 divisions, meaning 9 other countries who also part of CGI, Chartered Governance Institute of UK. So if any member wish to go and work in New Zealand for a matter,
Okay.
they can actually transfer the membership to New Zealand, and actually they can practice as a governance professional or company secretary.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That is one route. The other route is the global passport route. So if you don't want, you want to still maintain your membership here, and you're going to work in New Zealand, and you also want to receive their newsletters or whatever programs that they have, then you sign up with the global passport route.
Oh, okay.
With New Zealand.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So that also allows you. So that's a kind of international recognition that we have.
So you don't need to sit for New Zealand or
you may need to sit for a simple assessment. Okay, maybe on the side of their local statutory requirements and all that.
Yeah.
They may need to do that, right? That one they have to do. But apart from that, I think it's simple for you to go and practice over there.
You're talking about 80 countries, right?
80 countries.
I'm sure out of that 80 countries, because ASAS is the Association for Sharia Advisors in Islamic Finance.
Yeah.
We talk a lot with other counterpart. We talk a lot with other regulators in other jurisdictions. Maybe it is also widely known that we have now Islamic finance has been established in about 80 countries as well.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Right.
Yeah, but of course the level of the practice are different. Some are still developing, some are still very infant, some are very much advanced.
Right.
So I'm sure that if we were to have people that are well versed in Islamic finance, they have been working in Islamic finance in Malaysia in various capacity, and if they decide to move on to any of the 80 Islamic finance jurisdiction country, I'm sure they will cross path that the same, they would have also some reciprocal recognition in that country.
Yeah.
So ASAS will do that mapping,
right?
And later on, maybe when we promote this program, we can also tell them that out of the 80 country that you mentioned, maybe could be about 30 or 40 that have an Islamic finance present widely. So MISA has been established in Malaysia since 1959.
Yeah, 65 years old.
65 years old. Wow.
We just celebrated our 65th anniversary.
Yeah. I missed the dinner. I sent Hidayah, our head of director of operation there. You have 4,500 members?
Yes.
And all over Malaysia?
It's all over Malaysia, yes.
Wow. They don't have any Sabah or Sarawak charter, or all centered in just Malaysia?
No, Sabah Sarawak is included.
Okay.
4,500 includes the members from Sabah and Sarawak and Peninsula.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about people who are taking ICSA or Chartered Governance qualification now? Any rough number every year? What's the numbers like?
In a year, I would say those sitting for the exams will touch about 700.
Every year?
Every year. This is for 2 sittings.
Oh.
About 2 sittings, about 700 to 800 of them sitting for
Okay.
the
So
exams.
for those who are going on fast track,
Mm.
can they complete the program within a year, or for those who
It
are
depends on the individual because it's only two papers, right?
two
It's
paper?
only the corporate governance
Mm.
and risk management.
Okay.
It's two papers, right?
Okay.
If they sit it, they can actually finish off in because with their work experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They probably can get it done in one sitting.
So the exam is on monthly basis, or you have June and September?
Ours is in June and November
So you,
or
you can
December, yeah.
June and December, for example.
Yeah.
So you can straight away take two paper or six paper at the same time. I mean, according to the schedule, or you have to wait or two paper this
Oh, that
evening
is
and then
up to them. That is up to them, yeah.
They
It's up to them.
can just straight away go
Yeah,
for
because the time limit is actually you need to complete your entire program within 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can slowly take their time, two paper a year,
Yeah.
or three papers a year,
Yeah,
and they
that's right.
complete within 3 years.
And this is actually at the moment now is all on self-learning, and
Self-learning.
anyone who signs up for the examination
Mm.
actually go on a learning management system.
Oh, okay.
All right, we have classes being conducted. They actually learn from there. And it's online.
I think with the 5 university that you are collaborating,
Mm.
is there any physical classes that they have
The
to
5
attend?
universities they have physical classes because it's part of their collaboration, master's
Okay.
collaboration. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So when we talk about we talk about how to become the chartered secretary or chartered governance, we also talk about the global recognition, and you mentioned about two ways of global passport and also transfer. And now apart from that, what would be the advantage of having this qualification? Like you have accounting, now you have this, and maybe for people who have degree in law, LLB, for example, what would be the advantage of having additional qualification?
Any qualification. I have seen individuals with multiple post nominals. I've seen some of them run to 2-3 lines. All right.
Okay.
All right. Now, this gives you additional weight to what you're going to practice. All right. If you are a governance professional, which requires you to look into overall the governance aspect, it can be from any industry.
Okay.
It can be the IT industry. It can be medical. All right. We are now talking about sports governance.
Sport governance.
There is such thing as sports governance. Never heard about that, right?
Never heard of that.
So, for anyone who wants to listen, join us at our conference, which is happening next month. All right, and we'll be talking about sports governance. All right.
Okay.
Now, those are all
I never heard of that.
yeah,
Never
these are all niche areas, right?
Niche areas.
So if you have a governance professional post nominal at the back of your name, that carries weight, and people will actually look up to you because it's a special expertise that you actually carry with you. It's a niche thing.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So that is why that will definitely help the individual to.
What about the demand in future? Now you have that ChatGPT that can beautify your minutes and everything.
Okay, ChatGPT, yes, you can beautify your minutes, but at the end of the day, you still need to read what ChatGPT said. You know, ChatGPT might suddenly pick up that you went out dating somewhere.
Okay.
Right? Because you need to still read that, right?
Yeah.
So even on the technology side, there is governance professional required.
Okay.
Especially when you talk about cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Now every organization needs somebody to look into that.
For sure.
All right. So for sure, the qualification is very important for anyone.
To me, I think governance is still a serious matter.
Yeah.
That require human touch.
Right.
That require some internal talent as well as a good communication with all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Rather than you just pick up and ask the robo advisors or whatever to do the conclusion. And
so even ESG.
Yeah.
We are the G in the ES. So we are a very important person. That's why we always on the back when it comes to sustainability, right? So it's very important that even in those areas, when you talk about ESG, it covers from all angles.
Correct.
Every organizations have to look into it, and that's what we're talking about. Okay. You need somebody with that expertise to also work with companies on that.
Yeah. So it does not limit the needs only in the financial sector.
Right.
It will be spread on a very wide listed or non-listed companies. It can also cover private and public
And public
sectors.
sectors.
It
Right.
can, wow, it's a very,
So there is also a growing need. I can't mention names, but there is also growing needs within government agencies on the governance side. All right.
okay.
So we are also providing training, all right, on
Mm,
the governance side to
mm,
even some government agencies.
mm,
All right, and they find the importance of doing that. A lot of things which is happening, which is uh, cropping up, with especially corruption and all that, is
yeah,
it's all related to governance.
you're correct.
All right,
Yeah,
how things were actually put in place.
yeah.
All right, the processes,
Mm.
all that, all need to be checked by a governance person.
Okay, I think ASAS member may be puzzled why all of a sudden
Mm,
ASAS invite Maisa
mm,
talk about it, and it was also in the press release
mm.
of the president
Right.
of Maisa recently
Mm.
in Bernama. All
Bernama.
right.
Right.
So to us, ASAS vision and mission is basically to increase the professionalism of the Sharia fraternity.
Yes.
But that Sharia fraternity mainly cover about 4 segments.
Okay.
The first segment is the Sharia advisors,
Mm-hmm.
those who are sitting within the entity that licensed either by Bank Negara or licensed by Securities Commission.
Mhm.
Of course, those who are licensed by Bank Negara require a permanent um, Sharia committee, or some people say Sharia board. But those who are licensed under Securities Commission, the president of the Sharia committee or Sharia board are more on the product level. The second segment of our members are basically the Sharia officers
Okay.
that mainly cover the core Sharia function,
Mm.
which is Sharia audit, Sharia review, Sharia secretariat, Sharia research, and Sharia risk. Uh, and the third component of our members is basically the lecturers,
Right.
academicians who teach Islamic finance,
Mm.
either directly on Islamic finance, banking, capital market, or takaful, or people who are teaching Islamic studies that related to muamalat.
Right.
And of course, the fourth one is always the professional body that's supporting Islamic finance, the accountant, the lawyers, the actuaries, and everything. So we always think that Islamic finance has been in Malaysia for the last 5 years, last 50 years. You have a presence of a very important component in Islamic financial institution called Sharia Board or Sharia Committee that also have a dedicated Sharia Secretariat team.
Mm.
Not only taking the minutes or minute taker, they are also the one who make sure that the application of the guideline or the rules or the governance issued by the regulators, be it Bank Negara or Securities Commission or Labuan FSA,
Right.
are properly applied.
Right.
And they also make sure that the application of the classical
Mm.
Sharia with the reference from Al-Quran and the Hadith or the scholars together to be applied that come up with a proper products. So we always believe that one of the way that we want is about time now for us to lift up the position of the of the secretary
Secretary.
to the Sharia board
Mm.
to become chartered secretary.
Right.
So we believe that by doing that, they can have a wider career path.
Yes.
They will not only limit themselves in the financial sector or in their institution. Again, as I said, they can join the legal firm
Right.
as external or company secretary external, or they can now move into the internal corporate department
Mm.
that also addressing the day-to-day application of Sharia in their department. That is just one side of the benefit. The other side of benefit is that we foresee that they can now have a wider career path. They can go on their own.
Yeah. Of course.
And having 2 or 3 Islamic finance product within their office.
Mm.
Yeah, and that I think would help a lot on the next S curve of Islamic finance in Malaysia. Okay, we'll stop here on our second session. How to become chartered secretary, the advantage of doing it, the international recognition, as well as the advantage that you mentioned just now. On our last session later on, maybe uh, based on your experience, looking at the dealings of you with the members, and looking at you mentioned a little bit just now about the advancement of the industry. Maybe you can give some advice to ASAS member, to the students now, that please seriously consider this career, and maybe that's supposed to be their additional professional qualification that they should have. All right, we'll come back on our third session on the question that I mentioned just now. Thank you. See you on the next session, inshallah. Thank you very much. All right, Justin and everyone, come back. Welcome back to our third session of ASAS, MISA Corporate Governance and Chartered Secretary talk today on podcast number 8 of Very ASAS. Justin, we have covered quite a lot on our first two sessions just now. So on the last session, maybe based on your advice, based on your dealings with the MISA members, with the stakeholders of chartered governance as well, or chartered secretary, what would be your advice to the people, the fresh 5 years graduates, or maybe the young graduates, or maybe even to the extent of the people who are considering their next career path? What would be your advice to them?
Okay, now is the time to actually look at in terms of the governance industry.
Okay.
It is it's
The
broadly
topic.
spoken about. It's
Yes.
spoken about everyone globally.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah.
talking about, and especially if you're talking about ESG.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now every organization is talking about that. Bursa and Securities Commission, they are talking about they're
everyone.
talking about sustainability reporting and all that. So if you actually look at it from where you are, whatever qualification that you have,
Yes.
right? As I mentioned, you have 3 entry routes.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you want to build your career path, you need to actually step on to say, look, I want to do something for myself.
Okay.
So if you take up the chartered, the CGQP examination, right, that gives you an avenue to, for you to become a risk manager. Okay. Or what do you call this? Compliance. Field of compliance. Environment. Okay, and also sustainability. These are all important areas which people are actually looking for to hire. All right, and we are short of them. We don't have enough. All right, so the only way for you to do it is actually go and get yourself qualified by sitting for these examinations.
Okay.
And getting that post nominals for yourself. I think that will help you out to take you a very long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the mode of doing it, either they can go straight self-study, or they can go to the 5 university that you mentioned just now.
Yes, correct.
Right?
No, some of them, probably some of the audience, right? They probably already engage with the universities.
Okay.
Speak to your universities, the 5 universities I've mentioned, right? Speak to them, and we'll be happy to speak to these candidates and see how we can guide them to take this program up.
So the university that they supposed to did and try to get the opportunity are basically 5 master collaborative partners, which is STAR UMT, Tunku Abdul Rahman University Management and Technology, number 1, UPTM University Polytech Malaysia, number 3 is Putra Business School.
Yes.
Number 4 is Utah University Tunku Abdul Rahman, and lastly is University Technology Mara.
Yes.
So the 5 university, for those listeners or viewers who are already in the master's program in these 5 mentioned university, please consider you still have a chance to graduate or walk out from the university with double qualification.
Yes, that's
Right.
right. That's right.
So what about opportunity for people who are already a chartered secretary overseas? If they want to make a comeback, how would that work for them?
Chartered secretaries overseas, meaning with a foreign qualification.
Yes, yes, yeah.
If they are a member of any one of our divisions, the
Yeah,
nine
the
countries,
nine.
the 9 countries, right? If they are a member of any one of them,
Mm.
they can always transfer their membership over here, right?
Okay.
And probably sit for one or two assessments for them to meet the local requirements,
Yeah,
all right?
acclimatize,
Acclimatize. That's right, and they can be part of the
Okay.
qualification here already.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So a nice advice for you to public at large, to the public now. We talk about the potential chartered governance. We talk about the students. Now, what about your advice to the public, saying that you don't have to be worried that MISA is addressing that governance parts while producing and upscaling the professionals, right?
So I think the public should not be worried about when you're talking about governance. When they talk about governance, I think, I'm not going to get caught.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I think when the system is in place, you know what to do and what not to do.
Okay.
And this is where integrity comes in. I think this is what, I think when we go to schools, this is what we actually being taught, right? Being true to yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this is what this industry is all about.
Okay.
All right. Because everything that you do, it has to be accounted for. You have to be responsible and accountable for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, advice is for the ASAS members, all right? This is an opportunity for you to actually leapfrog from what you are doing to another level,
Okay.
all right?
All right.
You probably don't see it now,
Correct.
but 3 to 4 years down the road, things are going to change. The landscape is changing.
Yes.
And if you don't jump onto the bandwagon,
No.
you're going to be left behind.
Okay.
Similarly to what is happening now when it comes to digital technology.
Yeah.
If you don't jump onto it now, you're going to be left behind.
Correct.
All right. So we don't want to be left behind.
Okay.
So it's advisable for them to just get on board, and you won't go wrong sitting down and taking up this qualification.
Having additional qualification.
Yeah, it's additional qualification. All right.
All right. Yeah. As a Muslim also, we have been continuously advised.
Yes.
For us to study from we are born until we are almost to our last breath.
So when I was finishing my Form 5,
okay.
So I had this vice principal who was giving advice to everyone.
Okay.
He said education is like what you said, from birth, all right?
Yeah.
But until you die.
Yeah.
But he said, even when you die, you're learning how to die. Okay. So he said, after saying that, he left us now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that is something that we need to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Continuous learning is very important.
Okay. So thank you very much, Justin. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
To the audience, I think we have covered quite a lot on the purpose of having chartered secretary or chartered governance qualification. We have also covered a little bit about MISA, the membership, the advantage of become MISA members. The approach is not only limited to people who have a legal and accounting background.
Yeah.
It cut across to various discipline, various qualification, and then the importance of preparation for your next S curve as well, as what the industry is moving on. So we look forward to have MISA and ASAS collaboration. We look forward to have both across membership, MISA membership covering Islamic finance subject, either through our certification or CPD program, as well as ASAS members to become MISA members. And together, we try to lift up the level of professionalism in our areas, governance, Sharia governance, chartered governance, so on and so forth. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the inputs. Hopefully, you have a good input from this session, and see you all again in our next podcast session. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.